Hey guys, welcome to High Octane Hustle. I'm Fastlane Jane.
And I'm Design Muse.
And welcome to part 2 of the Off-Road Racer and High Octane Hustle takeover
podcast.
Yes,
Takeover. I like takeover.
With
yes.
Matt Martelli.
Yes. Our Cinco de Mayo episode.
Tiny.
That's what they call me. Sorry, I thought that was funny.
There you go.
I'm amusing.
All my friends are tiny.
One of your friends?
So
I
this is
saved one for
another
you.
awesome brand, Humidor, old school. And this is a Reposado. So like I said, this. It's basically the same thing, just rested in a French oak barrel for a month.
This is that yummy worm salt, right?
It is, yes.
It's probably poor form if I stick my finger in there.
I mean,
Wow,
to
that's
you.
really good.
Really?
Yeah. I could drink a lot of that. It's a problem.
It's like they're it's sweet
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah, just like wine.
There's no like heat until it gets right about here.
Yeah, it takes a little while.
You're going to get more tones of like vanilla and, tobacco a little bit.
Yeah, it's like in your mouth a little longer. Like, I don't even know how to, but the heat doesn't, exactly.
It's rounder.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very
a
smooth.
round body. Is that what?
Yeah.
Has a
That's
round
what I
body
always look
flavor.
for,
Is
right?
Give her more.
I don't like the sharp lines.
That could be painful.
Full-bodied flavor. I don't know what the
Just like when you're looking for cars, you want the smooth.
It's all about the curves.
That's right. You want
It's
the
all about the
curves. You want the
They should
flow.
have called it a Corvette, not a Corvette.
No.
Because it's curvy. You look down on top of one of those C2s.
Well, it's funny because like when you were,
Looks like a chick.
or when they were naming those cars back then,
It's all about the hips and the.
like think about how cool the
about the
Italian
bass,
names
the
were,
line.
right? All the Italian names are like, oh, that sounds cool. But even now, it's like, I have an
And you can't
Aventador.
remember. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I was going to say, you can't
Aventador.
remember all of them, right?
Yeah.
It's easier to remember Corvette.
I don't know. Like, I'm such a visual person. Like, I forget the names. And then when I look at them, I'm like, ooh, I know that's a,
Like a Murcielago.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So,
I do.
and I do like the curvy cars.
The curvy guys.
Everyone does, for sure.
What are these glasses for? Is
Oh,
that when we
that's-
graduate from these to that?
Well,
Hopefully we don't.
I was telling
Hopefully we
Theresa, we had originally planned to have our good friend Levi to come do mixed
Okay.
drinks for us, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we've done tequila,
We did mezcal.
and we did mezcal,
This is our this first
Yes.
tequila, right?
and we're back to the basics of tequila, which I think is important because a lot of people, they think it's this big complex thing. And it's really not. There's 3 basic types of tequila, 4 if you count extra anejos, right? You have your blancos, right, which are unrested. So straight out of the still into usually like a metal barrel or, and then right into the
Are they
bottles.
always clear like this?
Yes.
The blancos are always just that color.
Hence the name Blanco, white,
I was trying
right?
to think. It's kind of,
You've probably heard Mexican guys yell after you, "Hey, Orle Blanca," right?
hot tequila?
And
Is that what
then,
that means?
and then the reposado, so that it gets its color and flavor from the oak barrel, right?
Okay. So
that
the
makes
longer
sense.
it
Yeah.
rests.
But it's really funny because there's like correlations between the agave that they make it out of and and the flavors that come out of it after it's been manipulated with the oak barrel. It's really weird. It's like, how does this make sense, right? So it's funny because one of these drinks are for a drink I got introduced to in Mexico, which is like their version of a Cuba Libre, which is tequila and Coke. Unfortunately, we found some actual Mexican Coke.
We got those. Those are coming up.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna.
But you, but you
save
have,
myself for that
but you
one.
have to do that with at least a a reposado, or it just doesn't. If you do it with a
Doesn't taste the
blanco,
same.
it doesn't taste right.
Okay.
So I've tried. Trust me.
I was gonna say he's done all the research for us,
Well,
so
and
I
here's the
appreciate
thing.
that.
This is smooth, but this one does have more full body, complex,
Yeah.
like some good tones.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know
Some
how to
curvy
express
tones.
it. That's what I'm trying to like. I don't know. It's like in my mouth and I feel it. I don't.
It's the same.
I'm not the person that I'm always going out and like. I don't know, drinking wine and
Tasting?
being
Yeah, no.
tasting
Yes.
wine and like.
We could
oh,
tell-
this one has floral notes of this. No,
We could
that's not
speak
me.
more to coffee.
Oh
Right?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Let's go there.
It's very.
You're right. We do. Yes, we
It's
have our
the
coffee
same,
thing.
right? Like it's the
It
same
is,
with
it is.
wine, with hard liquor, with food, etc. Like once you start building that vernacular,
Palate,
right?
vernacular.
I have to
Yeah.
have
That
these
you're like-
long nights with tequila, I guess, and
Yeah.
these conversations.
100%.
Do you think your husband's going to be okay with that?
As long as
He's
he's
going to want to
included, it'll be
join.
fine.
Yeah.
It's all about the
exactly.
research.
Yeah.
It's all about the
Yes,
research.
it's research.
Well, do you guys want to go right into this one?
I guess.
All right.
Sure.
I mean, we're doing the research. That's what it's all about. We're doing this for the greater good of research.
Perfect. Oh,
Oh.
shoot.
That's all right.
That's what happens. No, I'm just going to leave that one
So
alone.
this one is a really good one. So this is Corlejo, and this is a 4-year-old aged anejo. So smell it. It's going to smell
Okay.
real caramely,
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
Smells
Okay,
like a
cheers.
kind of like a burnt
Yeah.
caramel.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
burnedish.
Cheers.
Burnt. That's not a word. I know. But not
Burnished.
quite.
Burnished.
But not quite burnt.
Wow, it's good.
Uh-oh, I'm
Oh yeah, that
spilling.
one's
That's
really
okay.
good.
That's okay.
That one's really good.
You're allowed to spill
It's
here.
not.
That was really good.
Yeah.
It is good.
I can see how that
it's
would taste
very
good
caramely at the
with
end.
the Coca-Cola.
Oh, it's very
Yeah.
caramely.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
really
I definitely
Like,
get that
sits
at
in
the
your
end.
mouth nicely.
It does.
good. Yeah.
It's like
very
on the
good.
tongue. I feel it.
So,
No, it is.
I believe you.
So as tequilas become more and more popular, these extra anejos are getting more popular, just like an aged scotch, right?
What does anejo mean?
Year,
Okay.
right? So a
Extra year.
normal anejo is a 1-year aged tequila
Okay.
in oak barrels, and then this one is a 3-year-old aged tequila.
Nice.
So it picks up the notes from the oak barrel.
Yes.
They didn't add like a flavor.
Not unless, so this is the big debate now too, is
Okay.
like they're allowing some tequila brands to mess with the tequila, which I
Okay.
don't think is a good thing.
That's not a purist.
Well,
type
I
of-
think they should call it something else,
Yeah.
like
Oh.
enhanced tequila or whatever. But a lot of the,
Like what? Give us an example.
they'll put artificial flavorings and colors and just like they
the way they whiskey, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They do it with everything in America, unfortunately, and that's one of the cool things about.
They already had artificial stuff to everything in America.
Well, in
I know.
in other countries they have laws,
many
right?
ways.
Yeah.
So like like we were talking about France earlier, it's like if you buy a Burgundy, it's from that region, and there's a very strict policy on what they can or cannot add to it. It's like only
you're-
these grapes from this area.
So
Under
you're
these
understanding
conditions.
like the flavor profile and why it has the flavor
From
it
that
does.
rain,
Yeah,
that soil,
yeah.
that till.
Like
They do that
Makes
with
sense.
Parmesan cheese too.
they do it with food, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
good friend of
Not
mine
France, Italy.
is a wine sommelier, and he can taste and smell wine and be like, "Yeah, this is French from this region," and blah blah. And I'm like,
It's so
I'm like-
I know, right?
and
right?
I smell it, and I'm like, "Yeah, it smells good."
See,
I like
okay,
it.
That's
know
where
I
I'm
like
at here.
this.
I'm not that
That's where
refined.
I'm at.
Yeah, but it's fun doing the research, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Thank you very much. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Let's raise a glass to that. Ah. Is anybody else warm in here?
I might
Is it
be
the-
giggling a
I was
little
gonna
more.
say,
That's all.
Could it
I
be
do notice that.
Could it be something
We're ready for the cokes.
that we're drinking? I
I'm
always
getting
like
the rosy
Coca-Cola.
cheeks. I know.
I know. I feel very
know.
rosy.
I have to look this up because I got introduced to this in Mexico,
Okay.
and I cannot for the life of me remember
Everyone loves a Mexican Coke.
what
Oh my
this is called.
gosh.
I mean,
something good. It's called something good.
Well, it's basically like a Cuba Libre, but with tequila.
Yeah,
And so squeeze a little bit of lime in yours.
definitely. I'm going to steal your lime.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal this one.
There's a bunch there.
I have that.
Because he has a knife in
Taking
his
that. Don't stab me. Thought we were friends.
Just a little war wound.
That might be nice for later.
Kind
He's
of like a nice
"Ooh."
going out. This is a nice going out parting gift.
Well, it's cheaper than a tattoo, right? Well,
The tattoo will last longer, hopefully.
I don't know. If you get a good scar,
Oh, great.
right? All right.
Okay. Sorry, I used all that. You have some.
So
Oh, my sister's calling.
small amount.
Oh, invite her to the party. She's like, what are you doing for Cinco de Mayo? You want to go out and have some
Right.
drinks?
So strange enough,
Yes.
we're Cinco de Mayoing.
Yes, we are.
With
Yes,
that
we
in
are.
there.
I love a good lime.
Should we leave it in?
A little lime. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to get all the pesticides in there.
Yeah.
Right on. Aren't these from your yard?
No,
See,
these
we're
are
the
not.
kids that
The
ate
orange, is
dirt
that
when
from
we
your
were
yard?
younger, you know, so
Yes.
we like all that stuff, right?
Just how we lived so long.
I totally agree.
I think so.
No, do
Those
the.
look amazing.
You have to do it with Mexican Coke.
Okay. I love
It's
this.
my super fancy swizzle stick.
Swizzle.
Right? Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Mr. Martelli. Cheers to Mad Media.
So
that is
good.
good.
Right?
That is good.
Really good. And with the lime,
And it doesn't
too.
have near the amount of sugar as like a Cuba Relay. Cuba Relay?
Cuba Libre.
Cuba Libre,
Yeah.
not Cuba Relay.
Free Cuba, right?
Yeah. It doesn't have as much sugar because the
Well, because
not
tequila,
rum.
not
Yeah.
rum, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
So we were in
I love Coca-Cola.
Jalisco, and I got introduced to this with from owner of a tequila brand, Jim Riley, who raced off road. And what they would do down there to kind of finish it off is the pieces of the agave that get baked. There's always kind of these off pieces that they don't use for the tequila. And then, so after it gets baked, it brings all of the sugar to the surface.
Okay.
So it's like this kind of, it's like this ropey texture because the agaves are very ropey.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
inside. Yeah, yes.
And so they cut off pieces of it and then they dunk it in this, and that gives you a little bit more of a almost like a brown sugar boost to it.
Interesting.
Really good. I was like, how
So
can
they-
I smuggle these back?
So
Right?
they bake the agave
Yeah.
before creating the tequila? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. So I'll
I had no idea.
The
So
whole
it's like cactus are good for so many different things like this,
Yeah.
right?
it's crazy to look at a agave
the
and go
things.
like, oh yeah, we can make some really good liquor out of that.
Yeah.
But basically, they harvest them, and when they harvest them, they cut off all the leaves, right?
Right.
And then you're left with the center, and the
Okay.
center is called the pina because it resembles a pineapple.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they take all the pinas and they put them in an oven, and they bake them to bring out all the sugars, and then they mash those, and then that juice becomes what they ferment into tequila.
I love that.
Actually, they ferment it first, then they distill it, and that's tequila,
That's
I love
wild.
that.
right?
But
Yeah.
the pina is not edible without baking it, or
it's the pina is like it's like rope, it's like super fibrous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you look at these things, you're like, how are we going to make anything out of this?
it's like
right?
the center, like the very
Well, a
center
lot
of
of
the
it's like-
pineapple, right?
Like you had mentioned, it's cooked down,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
But I mean, even in its raw form, you look at it and it's really heavy and it's really tough.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is not something, And so it's funny again how cultures clash and create something beautiful. So the Spanish invade Mexico, right? And they bring wine. That was the first wine grapes to the American continent. And, so everybody starts growing and making wine and not buying wine from France. So back then, they would conquer countries with the expectation that then they could tax the shit out of them, right?
Yeah.
So the King of France is looking at the declining numbers of wine drinking in Mexico, going, what's going on? And he finds out, hey, they're making their own. So he outlaws it. So, everybody's going to have a good time and get drunk, right? So they just found something else. So they found this drink that the natives were making called pulque, right?
Right.
And what pulque was it was the same thing. It was agave mashed down, and they would ferment it. But I don't know if you've ever had any fermented drinks, but you can only have a little bit, and then it makes you sick. Okay. Right? It's too much sugar. And so, this
kind of like a kombucha.
Yeah, no, because I mean, it would be like
fermented like that.
It's same process, but it's a high sugar ferment, right?
Okay.
That's where the alcohol is coming from, right? Like if you used a champagne yeast with a kombucha, then you'd get a high alcohol content.
So it
right?
changes it,
They're using a lower yeast, right? That doesn't require as much sugar to make kombucha, right? Same idea though. So then, of course, the Spanish knew how to distill stuff from making alcohol, and they're like, well, let's see what happens if we distill this, and boom, you have mezcal and tequila, and which works really good at getting drunk, right? So then all of a sudden they're like, hey man, we don't need your wine. You guys can save that shit for the sacrament, right? But it's hilarious because that's how not just tequila and mezcal was created, because the Spanish invasion of Mexico, but then crossing over to the other parts of South America into Peru, and you get pisco. And pisco is a distillate of wine, of grapes, right? So, pisco sours, and everybody's like, yeah, that's bitchin'. Well, where did it come from? It came from the Jesuit priests who brought over wine grapes, and which tastes like...
Are you starting a new podcast just based on alcohol?
I think you should.
We totally could.
I think you should.
Like,
We're drinking our way through history.
there it is. It's usually at the end. There it is.
Oh, Lord.
But it's so great because, again, like, there's this celebratory thing about alcohol and just in general and what it brings. And we were mentioning cactus before, so it was kind of funny because someone came up to our place, and like the second they stopped, they were like, you have San Pedros? And I was like, yeah, I have a ton of them. Why? They were like, oh, those are psychedelics.
Yep.
Like, there's so many.
But it's another podcast.
And aloe vera, like you were saying, so it's just interesting to me that there's so many different ways that you can use cactus and things like that. That people start to like understand it and really like dive into like. I don't know.
I think through YouTube, there's a lot more exposure into understanding things like that.
Okay, where did
He's
most of this, I know. Where did most of this knowledge come from? Like, you're talking about this right now. Like,
it's
just being in the cultures and experiencing them. And
so every culture has these things that are tied to it, right?
Yeah.
Off-road has travel, right? And the travel is off-road.
Yeah.
So the beauty of off-road culture is like everybody else is going to go have an experience. They're going to have the same experience. They're going to go down the highway. They're going to go to Disneyland. They're going to eat at McDonald's.
The same. Yep. This is it. This is my tunnel.
Right.
Yep.
And so you start off-roading, and it's
the culture.
All of a sudden, you start realizing.
The locals.
Yeah, but you're it's a juxtaposition to how everybody looks at the world, right?
I love that.
It's also like being a surfer, right? Like one thing surfing taught me is it's a juxtaposition. You're sitting in the ocean. There's dolphins. There's this beautiful smell, the power of the ocean, all this kind of stuff, and you're watching people drive down the highway. They're rushing and they're stressed out, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "We gotta go, and you're sitting there. You're sitting there going like, "No, I'm here, man. Yeah. This is where we're supposed to be." And off-roading is the same way. Is you go to the middle of nowhere.
I've never thought of that. That's a great. You really are on the outside. Looking in. Yeah.
And so your question is, where did I learn about some of these things like cactus? First time I ever had cactus was on an off-road trip as a kid.
Yeah.
And there was a little place selling something, and I'm like, what is nopal?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's really good for you, and of course everything in Mexico is Mexican Viagra. They're like, you know what I mean? Like that's what they're like.
It's really good for you in that way.
I'm like, hey man, I'm 14. I'm pretty sure I'm good. Like, Jesus, can we wait? Can we wait 50 years? Before that pitch comes out? But right away, they're like Mexican Viagra, right? And I'm like,
but was it really Mexican Viagra?
I have no idea. I was
playing to the
I was
audience
a teenager.
or whatever.
You're just walking around with a boner at that point, anyways. You know what I mean? Like you don't even know. Like. And they have no
You're
idea.
right. We don't know.
No, it's just like,
thank God. Again, whole other podcast.
Teenage boy, you know what I mean? In Southern California, yeah, there's blondes everywhere. But no, but like honestly, like trips to Baja, trips through the U.S. deserts, all the different places, and learning about all this stuff and seeing. How people use different types of cactus for different things, and and understanding the power and the value of that. Of like, it's hilarious because we have we look at things and we're like, it's what is that, right? And so you start learning about that stuff, and you're like, okay, nopal, it's really good. It's really good for you if you prepare it right. But it becomes a part of the aesthetic of the experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, like we were talking earlier about the smells. Like one of my favorite smells is people grilling carne asada next to a race course. Right?
Very specific. I like
You've
that.
got race gas.
Yeah.
You've got
For
race
sure.
food, right?
Yeah, you've got the dirt. You're tasting the dirt and the wind, and and the desert has a
fuel.
specific smell to it, especially when it's springtime or wet. There's different floral smells to it. Everybody thinks it's like some static thing that's just dead,
No.
and it's very alive.
Yeah.
And but then you have in Baja particularly, those people know how to have a good time, and they're always cooking something.
Well, okay, and you talked about this before, like people going to Disneyland or something like that. You have your kids, and this is like middle America. This is what you do. You go to Applebee's, you go to Disneyland, you have these things. But when you're going to places like Mexico, there is none of that.
No.
You stop at literally someone's like house and in their garage and experience something that just is so unique to the culture. And you're like, there's literally nowhere else to stop. I don't know where to stop. I need gas. I need food.
Yeah.
I need all these things. So I'm stopping at this person's house that has this little funny sign that says gas and food on it. So you stop there, and it's like the best experience of your life. You literally like understand the culture and why people go to Baja and why they love it so much. Mm-hmm. And like we miss that in America, I think
There's spots. I mean, there's spots. No, it's funny because like
the commercialization of like what people do, the middle America of like, this is what we're supposed to do. It's like, how do we help culture?
Those are the same things we talked about when we're talking about teaching fabrication, when we're talking about push a broom.
It's all about
totally.
I know. It's getting
the device
back
down,
to that.
push
It really
the broom.
is. It really
Yeah.
is. It is a visceral thing. It is tactile. It's all
not
the
revered
things.
enough.
I know. It's all the things.
I think
that's how you experience
I think
life.
it is though. I think like it manifests in certain ways. Like a while ago, I was talking to Jesse James about this, right? And I was kind of giving him shit. I'm like, hey man, like remember, like we had this conversation years ago, and I was like, hey, you have to lead this culture revolution. He's like, hey man, like just relax. You know what I mean?
It's not just me. Come on.
But my point was that like he was at the end of a dying breed of fabricators, right? And not just motorcycle fabricators, but the guys he had learned from who crossed over in the hot rods, the Arlen Nesses, all the different, people who could literally think about something in their mind understand materials and make it by hand. They didn't even need,
Sure.
CAD or anything like that, or anything computer, assisted. They would just go, oh, okay, I know how to make these fenders. I know what material to use, what gauge it should be, all these things, right? So I see that poking up in certain areas, and I think social media has actually helped it.
Agreed.
I think social media is one of those things that like people see that and they're like, man, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to try that, or et cetera. So I have great hope for the future of creative humanity, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot out there that now can be done, and there are also things with technology that have made it better, like
Agreed.
being able to
I do agree with
three-dimensionally
that.
print something.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
It
is. No, technology is amazing, but helping people understand where it started, where it came from, like this weekend, I'm serious, doing pinstriping, like you never know how excited people get about it, but like it was insane. And people wanted to talk about it and like, you're bringing back this lost art. And I was like, I mean, it's around and
them.
I see it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I see it.
They're not exposed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're doing, is exposing them to it.
Well,
we're just helping them understand where it came from. But I agree with you that like technology is amazing of how do we use it? How do we help technology? How do we use technology in the way that it can help us get the word out?
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember being a kid, and I grew up in a very art forward, culture, right? Like hippie, hey, yeah, you sculpt, paint, do whatever, But I saw this, I guess a collision between like fine art, crafting, and then what really turned me on was when I started seeing hot rod culture, right? Like in
Me
particular,
too.
Ed
Yeah.
Roth, right?
Yeah.
And
great, yeah.
and then some of the other guys that were in that same group of people, Von Dutch, and especially I would say more Von Dutch than Ed Roth, because he expounded himself as an artist.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I'm gonna make a beautiful knife.
Yes.
And then I'm going to make a hot rod, and then I'm going to do a
Yes.
painting, and I'm going to do some clothing.
Everything.
So it was
Definitely.
this idea that he didn't have to say, oh yeah, I make hot rods.
Yep.
He
I'm just a designer.
he
I'm
was
just
like,
this.
yeah, he
Yes.
was like, I'm a creative, right? And I
Yes,
think that's an
yes.
important ideal to teach people of like, you may not be good at everything, but I would encourage you to try everything, because that it gives you something that then you can take back to your main thing and go, hey, I learned this over here.
Yeah.
I was stimulated, et cetera. That's why, in our business, it's like, that's why I love doing, graphic design. I love, the filmmaking aspect of what we do. I love making T-shirts. It's kind of this stupid, gratifying thing that I'm like, I saw somebody this weekend with one of the shirt I had designed on, and I'm
It's
like,
rad.
I did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
I love that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's cool because you're like, wow, that person saw enough value to purchase that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like having all those kind of creative outlets, and I think is important. But yeah, I think that I have a lot of hope for the future of creative, of this stuff, and we just need to keep showing that to people.
Agreed.
Because again, I'm impressed. Like I see some young people now, and I'm like, shit, they're good.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
Yeah. And again, I think most of this is like to the masses. Like we're talking about like our culture that we have and stuff, but and how can we just keep like, I don't know, getting everyone
Growing it?
excited about what all this
I think
is.
part of it too is celebrating it, right? Like,
Yes.
like
Celebrating.
cheers.
Again, celebrating. How we started.
Those are
Wait,
deadly.
how long has this been? Baja Forged, known for turning heads at SEMA with their signature builds, is launching something big. Their new YouTube channel goes behind the scenes as they transform a classic 1968 Ford Bronco into a race-ready beast for the 2026 season. It's their first race truck, and they're documenting every step, raw, unfiltered, and built alongside their trusted partners. Visit BajaForged.com and click the YouTube link to subscribe and follow the journey.
Since 1987, GTS Customs has specialized in resto-mod Corvettes. From widened bodies to pro touring vehicles with all today's modern technology. If you've got a Corvette, an old Corvette, and you want to make it drive like something new, contact gtscustoms.com.
Oh, we're good.
Oh gosh.
We're good.
What do we want to go? How far do we want to go? How entertained are you people? We already know I'm not. This is just me.
We got some time, right?
Usually they're 40 minutes. So we've got
45 minutes. A little bit over.
What? I think the longest one we've done is 2.5 hours.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
don't
I'm
think my
used
bladder
to
will handle
this.
Well, you can take a bathroom break. That's what editing's for, right? Although when you asked me where a bathroom was, I'm like, it's not. It's a man's bathroom, so I'm gonna pre-apologize.
Oh gosh.
Yesterday we were at the.
Oh gosh. I've been in some bathrooms. It's not no.
Well, I'm sure. Let me put it this way: I don't use that bathroom. I walk out into the orchard, right?
So I taught my son too.
Yeah, I'm like,
I can pop a squat anywhere.
yeah. The neighbors like me a lot. You tell.
Good thing you have a lot of trees around.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
Is that how we're finishing this?
Editing. We're editing that, right? Yeah, I didn't.
And that's the end of the episode.
Well, so
Time to take a bathroom break.
you've been down here quite a bit racing your car in the Good Guys
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, that's right. You
Yeah.
came out, but you didn't ride along with me.
I did not.
Whatever.
I don't think I was there for your run.
No, but we had fun. We
Yeah,
ate dinner.
I think I got there right afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was really, actually,
I was going to let you drive that car too.
You don't want me to drive that car.
You were wearing flip-flops though.
He's like, you
Why?
want
What
to keep
would
that
you
car,
do?
huh?
No, I have a problem. I have
Oh.
a problem with horsepower. It's like, I'm like,
You like to use it?
Yeah, I like to overuse it.
In that,
Wait a
that-
second. How many
that
motors
brake?
have I blown up, hun? Oops.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's different is like
Heavy foot, and that's it.
in off-roading and especially in desert racing, you kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, we're 50 miles from any help, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to do anything stupid. But I guarantee you, if you let me drive your car at Del Mar, where I'm like, my house is right there, I'll do something really stupid.
Leave?
Yeah, everybody would be like, "Hey, did you
now
see
I know
that?"
where he lives.
Yeah, I know, but
Whatever.
everybody would like, "Do you see that guy who got in Jane's car and just crashed the shit out of it?" Way overdriven. What is he thinking?
Oh my God.
What is he? He's just sliding it. Thinks he's in Fast and the Furious. All of a sudden, I'm Paul Walker.
I mean, we
smiling
spun
at
out. It
everybody.
was
I
fun.
was going to say, that's kind of what I feel like when I get behind the wheel of the car.
It's kind of fun.
I just need to
liked
make
it.
sure there's cameras on.
Well, it's one of those things too. It's like I have a friend, actually, Roddy from Flying Pig is up at the track doing a track day before Willow gets sold. Yeah,
Nice.
And so
I teach there. You know that, right?
no, I didn't know that.
For Ferrari. But
I hate that track. I have like a
I could teach you how to drive.
no. I'm
He's like, I know.
He's already talking about
I
that,
can teach you to go really, really fast without crashing.
I'm totally good with that. I'm totally like I would love to do that. I love actually really like learning about personally going and trying other disciplines.
Yeah.
Because you get to learn a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because you get in this comfort zone, whatever discipline you're doing, you're like, I got it.
Yeah.
And you kind of shut off and you kind of quit learning as much. And then usually there's a point where like, you get too relaxed, and then there's a big in off road. There's a big gotcha of like, I should have
Hit you in the
been.
ass, right?
I shouldn't have been so relaxed.
There's a lot of
there.
gotchas
Yeah.
in
I
off-road.
think that's what teaching has really done for me, because I remember this when the kids
Sure.
were growing up. The math teacher would say, "Now go home and teach your parents this. You'll understand it better." And I think that that's really been helpful to kind of keep that in the back of my mind, at least with driving, knowing, we're basically teaching physics behind the wheel of a car.
Yeah.
And if I can teach your body how to do it, that means I'm going to be a better driver. So
Yeah.
it's not unselfish.
No, it's
I do it because I want to be a better driver.
well, it's funny because like you start getting into the ass meter of like,
Oh, yeah.
like okay, you like I'm pretty good at feeling vehicles and also understanding the mechanics of a vehicle, like getting a vehicle and going, okay, this is 2-wheel drive, here's the balance, or it's
Right.
4-wheel drive, or here's what the characteristics of the car. But that's one of the things I love about off-road is like you get all that part of it, and then you're like, okay, surface.
Yeah.
Then you're reading terrain.
Yep.
And it's a really weird thing that you hit a point with off-roading where you like become a geographer, right?
You do.
You know what I mean? Like you
You
look
have
at
to know
stuff
ahead,
and
yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
look at how the mountain flows. The water is going to run down. This is going to be rough.
Yep.
Right? I'm going to check up here, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I see these people, especially with UTVs now, they go running into it and they're like, what? And you're like,
That's
what are
gonna
you
hurt.
doing? You see the
Yeah.
mountain? You
Yeah.
know what comes down a mountain? Ruts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, watch. And then you see, and they're like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, all right. You
You have to see
failed.
the chiropractor.
You
right?
failed basic geography.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's thinking about all those things. But same thing at Willow Springs. Like, one of the things is a love-hate with that track is just the funkiness and off cambers of it. And then
Of a couple of the turns.
the lips, right? The like, haha, you blew the corner and there's a lip and there's this thing. And you're like, who in the fuck designed that? Right? Like, where's the nice banked runoff with marbles where you like
Not for
slide
you.
into it?
Not for you.
And you're like, oh, I screwed up. But there it's like, you know what I mean? And everybody's like looking at you like you're a dipshit. And you're like,
And you were for that moment.
I
so.
100% was. There's been many times.
that moment.
Like that's the great thing about desert, like just riding in the desert is when that happens,
There's not a whole lot of people around.
Right. You don't have the same audience.
They're all watching you.
you can
The
make
audience,
up you
yeah.
can make up the stories. Like here as
Fishtails,
as an
right?
off-roader, it's so fun for me to be at the finish line and talk to racers and
Sure.
and they're not, a lot of them are honest and they're like, yeah, I screwed up, I hit a rock, I earned it, blah blah. And then there's other guys who are like, man, I don't know what happened.
And you're
I
like,
was-
you know what happened.
You
know.
don't know what happened
You know
behind the
what
wheel.
happened.
I
If
kinda-
you don't know.
I kind of
You're
feel
not.
like the priest of speed.
Confessions. I'll take your confession.
You know what? It's,
You can lie to me, but you can't lie to God. You know what I mean?
Confessional.
Like, go ahead, I'll take
would
it.
be
I
a
will, I
standard
will,
priest of speed.
I will smile and I'll be like, oh, really? Is that what happened? But God knows. You know what I mean? It's like they know, right?
How many Hail Marys for that
And
lie?
I'm like, oh, really? A rock jumped out? It just hopped out? Took you out? And you were perfectly straight? You weren't overdriving?
So you understand you're in deep doo-doo if you hit a rock and you come back. I don't know what happened when you start racing.
Well, what,
I know God knows.
Yeah, God knows.
oh yeah, yep. And so does Mojave, and she will make you pay.
Queen Mojave.
Ask Extra's funny story back to Jesse.
Oops, sorry.
Jesse James, like he the last time he raced with us, we had put together a course that was pretty treacherous. But he went into this one section way too hot and just stuffed it and endoed, and I think he flipped. And now I always text him like, hey, we changed the course for you. It's all good. It was an
You coming back
expensive day.
out?
But
When
he
you
was
gonna be
honest.
there?
He was honest. You know, he's like, well, yeah, I screwed that up, right? So, but
So Jesus didn't take the wheel. Not one.
he should have. He should have. He should have. But
You never let go of the wheel. You drive it.
no, never let go of the wheel. Actually, I had Chris Searin here a couple weeks ago, and he runs the school with Tim O'Neill, rally school. And that was one of the first things that I
That's
learned.
on the East Coast,
Yeah,
right?
in Vermont area.
They do ice driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they do ice driving? They do tactical
No,
driving.
no. I know they do
Yeah.
ice
It's like
driving
full
on
like
the
machine gun. Da, 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 da.
So a friend of mine's trying to get that started at Willow Springs.
Hmm.
So maybe the new owners will bring that in because they wanted to do an off-road segment and then a shooting range
That'd be cool.
to be some tactical labs.
Everybody's worried that Singer is going to turn it into just bougie,
Just development.
like
Like thermal.
Yeah, like nobody can afford to go there. Like everybody, I feel like a psychologist right now. All my pavement friends are like, yeah, but they're gonna outprice everybody. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Rob's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I don't
Is
really.
that the new owner?
Well,
Or
Rob from Singer, he's involved.
They're
so
the ones.
yeah, Singer Porsche, they build amazing cars. Like it's weird to think like somebody takes a Porsche, which is already a good car, and then they make it $400,000 better, right?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty amazing,
That is
right?
amazing. It
And you
is.
talk about attention to detail; it's pretty cool. It's hard for me to look at stuff like that and be like, "Oh, that's the same price as a trophy truck," right? Once you add the donor car in the car, and you're like 800, a million, something, right?
Everyone has their thing, you
Yeah.
know.
No, but I can
I would definitely
see,
take a trophy truck over a Porsche, but
I can see it in like the fit and finish part of it.
agree.
Yeah.
There's quite a few builders that I see build stuff, and I'm like, it just,
Sure.
the seams and the flow and all the
body
stuff,
caps and
and
everything.
it's stuff
All
that
that stuff
you really
matters.
wouldn't do in off road because you're gonna crash it, and you don't want to. Or you're going to beat the hell out of it, and you're like, oh, it's weird. The body doesn't align anymore. It's like, oh, yeah? Really? You think so?
But let me show you this video.
Did you see
of
what
the jump I
happened?
just
You
did.
just-
That rock flew out at me.
You just went, you just went
That's what happened.
400 miles through the roughest terrain. Everything is bent,
Including you.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You started off slightly bent because you're racing that. So
I'm not straight.
Well, it's true. It's funny. I was reflecting on this the other day of like how we arrived in this culture at this point, and all the people that built the culture. A lot of them were World War II vets who'd come back, and they're like, "We're bored,"
Alex
And-
Exilius.
Yeah, and they were like, "How can we get turned on again?"
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether it was high speed runs, out in the Salt Lake,
Right.
Whether it was drag racing, street racing, off road is just an extension of that, motorcycle, etc.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I wonder, we're very fortunate that like I'm pretty glad I never got sent to a foreign country to kill people. I'd rather go there and enjoy their
Hang
food and
out.
alcohol,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, this is rad. What's this called? But it's interesting to think about the idea that manufactured such greatness post-war, right? That people were just like, yeah, me and my like the Eakins brothers, like, hey, we're gonna get in motorcycles that kind of barely run at the time compared to what we have now, and we're gonna go straight down the Baja Peninsula, and we don't even know where we're getting gas. They're like, oh, put a couple milk jugs on the side, you'll be fine. Now people are like having a panic attack because their cell phone doesn't work, right?
It keeps going back to that darn cell phone.
I know.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
But it's really interesting to see that that wild-eyed culture that created all this, and we need to keep that. So
Let's
I
keep
agree.
it.
yeah,
I agree
cheers.
to that. Cheers. I think this has been an amazing Cinco de Mayo.
Definitely.
Again.
I know, right?
Where's the other
All
half
great
of our
stuff to talk
production
about.
team?
The other half? I
I
don't
said
know.
the other half of our production team. What did we not cover?
Well, there's a lot. There's like world peace.
We ain't got nothing to do there.
Middle East.
You just do cool shit.
Yeah.
And then that covers the world peace thing.
Yeah.
Well, 100%.
If more people raced, we'd be
That's
fine.
what it's
I
about.
mean, it's true. I mean, when you look at these extensions of racing in different countries, and like one of the experiences I had a while ago was going to Dakar,
Yeah.
and in Saudi Arabia, and I wanted to see like, hey, if this is if I get the opportunity, this is when I'm going to Saudi Arabia. And it was a beautiful country. It was beautiful people.
Yes.
It very much reminded me of Baja because I was going up the Red Sea side. And, it was amazing, and it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, if you go there because of an off-road race or a race,
Oh, look.
F1 race.
Look at that. They heard their names being called.
I think they just figured out this is the only room with alcohol in it. Right? I mean, hey, I'm here with all the cake.
Aren't they adorable? Look
We need
at him.
a
awesome.
high octane hustle. We can quick put
Look
your
at
name
that,
on
huh?
it.
Look at how
That's
creative that
so
girl was.
Here, I'm gonna go like that.
I'm gonna hold it up and see if it falls.
Yeah, don't. Oh my
It's
gosh,
pretty good,
she's
huh?
so brave.
I know.
I was like, it's falling. I was like,
I looked and then I looked at him and he's like, oh shit. It's going down.
Everyone trusts me always.
apparently.
Nope, they don't.
Hold the cake. She takes the cake.
Awesome.
That's amazing. I had something silly. Oh, Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
You have some fun stories about
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah, it was really cool. I have some funny stories.
We want funny.
Archie,
stories.
one of my best friends, I conned him in.
He's my best friend now too.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Right? So this is
We can fight over him.
this is a funny
Yeah, I know.
this is a funny Matt Martelliism. Like I just
Ism. Matt Martelli ism.
This
Got
is
it.
new.
I didn't know.
I've never
yeah.
heard that there.
I didn't know.
I would have gone with just
What are your
Mattism.
isms? I know.
I
didn't
just-
know this.
like
know.
when I decide I'm gonna do stuff, part of what I have to do is rope people into it. Good or bad. good or bad.
I mean, I think we're all good at that.
Usually it's good.
Some people
Okay.
are better.
No, but it's
Okay.
like
I'm not pointing fingers or
Oh.
anything.
it's like adventure minded, right? So I'm like I'm looking at it, I'm like,
That makes sense.
who do I want
sense.
to go to Saudi Arabia with me? Because there's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of it that's gonna be sucky.
Sketchy.
Sure, you
Just-
don't know.
No, just like you got to pick somebody who
It could
like
be uncomfortable. You don't know what's
yeah,
going
you
on.
got to be like, hey, we're
You
driving.
can't have a princess.
Yeah, we're driving for 10 hours. We
valid.
don't,
It's valid.
Yeah.
in Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
on a road.
Yeah.
We don't know where
There might be food.
we don't know where gas
Yeah.
stations are. You
Yeah.
know, we don't know really
You don't know if they're
any of
gonna
this stuff.
help you or not.
No,
or
no,
not
and that's
ta-
one
yeah.
thing I can.
But you don't know how they're gonna
No.
respond to.
and
also.
also like you look at the cultural differences, and it's
Yeah.
like it's one thing when you're this petite little quiet American, but we're fucking
Or a female.
Vikings, right? And we're like. You know what I mean? We stick out
Yeah.
everywhere we go. Like when I travel to countries, and I'm only 6 foot, right? But like I travel to countries and people are like, what are they feeding these
dat?
people? Like, you know what I mean? Like I was in Italy, I had people following me, like pointing at my calves.
Do
right?
people do
They're
that
like
to
a
you
s-
too?
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Like,
There's-
can I just hide just a little bit?
And I'm
every
like,
once
well,
in a while?
I don't care. I just know that like there's no I can't camouflage myself, right?
Because the pants don't fit the calves.
It's just, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some people like at certain scales, like they can just like blend in.
Yeah.
And
Not
there's
blending.
then there's us. They're like, oh shit, are we getting invaded? Like what's going on, right? So then I decide I'm gonna bring my other giant friend Archie with me, right? But I knew
Archie's big. Yeah.
I knew
you're
that
right.
I knew that we'd been on a bunch of adventures together that were like, all right, we're in Baja, we gotta do a 16-hour straight drive and we're good. We're like making jokes and like laughing about whatever. Like it's like these things where you go through where like it can go from being a good time to miserable depending on who's with you.
Sure.
And when you travel, that's really important because
Critical.
then it ruins your experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
there's certain people that you can do that with.
I'm
I
like, dude,
agree.
this guy,
Yes.
I literally could be like, hey man, there's no hotels. We're gonna sleep in the car and be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm that
As long as we get to sleep.
And he would,
Yes.
and he would be like, 20 years later, he'd be like, remember when we slept in the car in Saudi Arabia? That was dumb.
I've done so much
You know
of
what I mean?
that kind of stuff.
So
We've
anyways,
gone really sideways.
I
but
love that.
so he comes with me, and granted, like we're at having a barbecue at my house, and I was like, "You want to go to Saudi Arabia with me?" He's like, "Yeah, that'd be great." I'm like, "Cool, I'll call you in the morning."
Yeah, he's like, wait, did that really happen?
So like, I call him in the morning. He's like, "Well, okay," and I'm like, "You have to go, dude." And
said
I didn't really have
yes.
to twist his arm. He
Yeah.
was like, "All right." But then, like, I have to manage stuff, right? So I probably failed to tell him that I was already going to be in Europe and that he would have to fly to Saudi Arabia and
by
meet
himself.
me, right? And
It's
to
a big
Jeddah.
Yeah.
And he did. right? Like full man style, right?
Yeah, didn't
like,
it happen like within a week or something like that? Did you
It
guys
was-
have to go
it was-
in like pretty short order?
I think it was like a month, but it wasn't like, hey,
Still a month.
in a year, we're going
Yeah.
to do this
We're gonna
epic trip.
prepare.
It's like, we're going. Like, I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm,
Me? Oh,
don't
I'm
let me,
Alexa.
don't let me, there's more.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Go
Why did you put it right there?
Why? Because I was sharing it with you.
She's trapping you. Yeah, so we go and
Giving you more.
there's lots of funny experiences, but like we spent 4 days, I think, driving up the Red Sea side, right? And we're at the final stop, and and we've been doing long days, because they're racing and you drive up the highway, and then we chase in and try and find the race course because the officials at Dakar wouldn't give us the race course unless we were part of the official press corps, and we traveled with them. And we're like, no, you don't understand. We do this. And they're like, then we are not giving you the race course.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you're going north. We're
like,
going
"What's
north.
bro mean?"
We're going to hang a right. We're going to find the race course. Like, it's not rocket science. And he's like, whatever, Americans.
Flexing.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, dude. Okay, Pierre, don't give me the race map. I think I'll figure it out, like challenge accepted. Right. So, so that's what we were doing, but it was like the fourth day, and it was like, long 14 hours of driving, whatever, get to a city, try and find a hotel, try and find a restaurant, random food, like all random stuff, right? Sleep for a few hours and get up and do it again. And, so we were pretty cooked, so we get to this hotel, and it's this beautiful seaside area. And, it's the only hotel. It's the last room, right? And I said, Archie, go in there and check it out to make sure it's not a total disaster. I don't think we have much options. So he goes up there, and I can hear him going, oh, hell no. I'm like, dude. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Right? So he comes down, and he's like, we're not doing that. And I'm like, is that bad? And he's like, there's a duty in
Oh gosh.
in the shower, right? And he's a plumber, right? So I'm like, oh man, that's gross, right? So I'm talking to the front desk guy, and there's some French guys behind us, and they're like, we'll take it. And I'm like, Archie, are you sure? And he's like, full like, I'm done. I'm not going here. We got to find someplace else. I'm like,
There is no else.
Yeah, this
There's
is
no
the
other-
last option. Yeah.
So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna go up there. I will scoop the duty out of the thing, wash it down, whatever. I'm prepared to do whatever. I'm like, I'm
It's going to be a
sleeping.
fight over the Frenchman.
Sure.
I'm
right?
sleeping.
Okay.
Right. So I go up there, turn the light on, lean over into the shower tub thing, and I'm looking, and it was night, so I'm like looking, and there was this. It looked like it might be, and then I'm like,
I know, I'm off.
then I'm like,
alive.
It's moving.
No, I get some tissue, and I go to like scoop it out because I'm like committed now, and all tissue tears. It was rust in the bottom of the.
Oh, it wasn't even a
No.
I'm thinking it's a
I
snake
thought it
now.
was a dead thing.
I was thinking it's a snake now.
So I like walk downstairs. I'm like, hey, dude, it was just rust. And he's like, no, it wasn't. It was a giant turd. And I'm like, and this is the lobby of the hotel room. He's having a full prima donna meltdown. So finally we get back up there, and he's like, oh, I'm just tired, man. And, okay. Right. So there was a bed, and then there was a couch. And I'm like, hey, I'll sleep on the couch, dude. I'm good. Blah, blah. So like, whatever. And it was, I don't know, probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. So we pass out. And I woke up at like 5:30, and I'm like, oh, took a shower or whatever. And then I'm like, I could go back to sleep. Like, we don't have to be anywhere for a while, because now we're not chasing the race. We're just driving back. So it's like, I don't know, 5:50. And I'm like sitting on this couch, like just going back to sleep. And all of a sudden it's 6 o'clock, and it's,
Oh yeah, this prayers.
yeah.
Prayers.
So we were next to a mosque. And the
Well, it's
freaking
in the whole city.
But
it's so loud.
The speaker was like so close I could touch it. Right?
Yeah.
It was like
so loud.
We are converting the infidels right now. Right? Like
At 6
like
o'clock in the morning.
it couldn't have been louder unless they handed me the speaker.
It freaked me out so bad. I was like, "What is happening?"
And we had been there, right? And we'd been, used to it, kind of.
Yeah.
But like when,
But not in your face.
No, but we didn't look.
It's loud.
It wasn't like, hey, we shouldn't stay in this room at this hotel because there's a mosque with a speaker
Literally right there.
in the window. And so yeah, we got up early that day.
You're morning people is what you're telling me.
And
It goes for a little while.
but
gonna wake you up.
It was like one of those things where it's like, okay, now we're heading back, and like that area of Saudi Arabia was just stunning,
Yeah.
And and I loved their coffee. We had questionable food. All I know is they called it meat. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. What type of meat is it? And they're like, meat. And I'm like, is this cow or is it?
It's just meat.
Is it lamb? Like, what is it? And they're like, meat.
It's the only word I know. It's the only word you're getting.
And I'm like, all right, Archie, we're having meat. Like, that's what it is, right? And not sure
And
what
it
this is.
tasted good?
I
Good
wouldn't.
enough?
Yeah.
That was an overstatement?
I didn't get sick.
Okay, good.
We got full. It
felt
worked.
nourished.
It worked. I wouldn't
And you don't want to ask more questions.
describe it as nourishment. I would just say,
filler.
yeah,
One of my favorite meals was in Saudi Arabia.
what was it?
Yeah, I know. And what was it?
A tent on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah,
And
you
it
guys-
literally was like, where are we going? This is scary. There's like nothing around.
My tent
And I was
restaurant.
like, this looks like Mexico right now. Like not a good part of Mexico. Like we're driving down this street and I'm like, there's nothing over here. Why are we driving down this street? No, we pulled up to this like little white tent that was
Yeah.
put up on the side of the road. And there were like rugs laid out and stuff. And we're like, okay, cool. This is where we're going. Like literally nothing else is around. There's
It's
just
like an episode of Sex in the
Yeah.
City, right?
and it was amazing. I give you this big plate and there's rice and the chicken in the middle and
They have camel too. Is that where
Yeah, they
you
eat
and
camel.
Will?
yeah.
Yeah, you
we
and
did
Will were
not
there.
have
Not-
yeah.
I
did not
had
have
camel
though.
in another part of the Middle East.
I did not eat camel to my knowledge. It could have been meat. But no.
It was
the
meat.
You know, if you're eating camel,
the
it's
chicken and it had like onions on it and rice, and then you just literally ate it with your hands and scooped it up, and
don't
there
really
was
have
like
to worry about who's
10 of
doing the
us in a
dishes,
circle,
right?
and we're like, "This is what we're eating." I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
like it was
That's cool.
so crazy.
we had
It was
some really good food in Riyadh in this main city.
Oh, Riyadh. Yeah.
it was so good.
That's right. Yeah. We were outside of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
It was outside.
It was so good that we went back there the next day. We're coming back.
This is a safe one.
But I did when we were in Dubai. The people that were hosting us. They made it a big point of doing the traditional barbecue with the camel, and
How was that?
Never had that.
it was kind of like, have you ever had goat? Like
I
I
haven't.
don't think so.
it's
I know. Burria?
Yeah, but I've
Maybe.
only had beef birria.
birria.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's a little bit gamey, right? Like,
Sure.
but it wasn't bad, Like I like lamb, I like, lots of different types of animal meat. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh God, I wish we had this back home, right?
Yeah.
So it was a little bit greasy, and of course, like I was the guest, so like, here's the eyeball. I was like,
No.
that's
It's not my
it's
thing.
not really what I
It's
wanted.
not my thing.
But
Did you eat it?
Oh yeah, I ate it. Yeah.
No. Wow.
100%,
Good
yeah.
for you.
Okay, go on. Tell us
I
more.
just feel
For you.
I just feel like when you're traveling
It's respectful.
and
or,
like what are you there for? Right?
To
Like what are
try
you there
new
for? It's
things.
like
Yeah, yeah.
again, the off-road thing, it's
Yes.
like you want to eat McDonald's, stay home.
No,
You
and
know
that's
what I mean?
why, like, eating there, I was like, this experience is amazing. Like, that experience and eating that, I was like, no, we're going to do this.
Did you
And I
eat
was
an
like,
eyeball too?
no.
Okay. You were talking about an eyeball.
No,
And camel.
but understanding the experience, it's
then-
part of it.
but
That's
it's
why
so
you're
important
there
to them, too,
doing it.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
especially if they've gone
You're
so far as
respecting
to
them.
give you.
Well, they
the eyeball.
know, like the people we were with were very educated. In fact, most of them were educated in America, right? So they knew where the boundaries were. And I think they wanted to see if they could get us outside of our comfort zone,
Yeah.
right? And so by, in the relationship that I had with these people, with these men, like they were very like, all right, you did it, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like they want to share their culture with you and they want you to have this experience. And they want you to like it, of course, but they don't want you to be like, "Puh," you know what
Yes.
I mean? Right?
Yes.
So you sometimes you're going to have to eat some weird stuff, to make friends, but it was cool. I mean, I don't, it's again, I'm not like, man, I can't wait to get home and have some more,
Eyeball?
eyeballs of camels or whatever, or
Not at the
goats
top
or
of your
whatever
list.
else I've eaten, brains and, all kinds
You're
of
like
stuff.
regular Indiana Jones.
I like it. I like
No,
it.
I mean, I'm not like, I don't necessarily seek that stuff out, but again,
It found you though.
No,
I
but
want to be able to go like
the experience.
like when we were in Inner Mongolia working on a project, and it was kind of the same thing. They were like, here you go, here's the eyeball, here's the cheek meat. The cheek meat was really good.
I would think that it cheek meat.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Mine's a little thin, but
they were like, here you go, right? And so, it was a big respect thing for them.
Yes,
Of like, this is their culture.
Definitely. No, and that's what I mean, really when you're going into it, that's what they're looking for is like they're being so hospitable to you, in that moment. So you want to respect that any
Yeah.
way you can, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that part.
so basically, whenever you guys come over to my house for dinner, if you say no to something that I'm offering you, I'm going to remind you.
Is it eyeballs?
Somehow
No,
I think
I
we're
wouldn't-
pretty safe with you.
I know, but if you said no
I'm just
to dessert,
just observation.
I know.
He's like, I've
Very
already
good.
tried it all.
You're like,
I've
dude,
already tried it all.
You're a little vanilla. So just,
She's like, have you had cheese? Yes.
mac and cheese?
Yes.
Yep, I've had
okay,
mac
we
and
went
cheese.
to the street fair in Carlsbad yesterday. Had the best grilled cheese sandwich and tater tots. Street fair food.
No, but that like it's
It's
Carlsbad.
delicious.
Everything's bougie, dude. It's like it's probably
But this
$20.
was the street- 23?
Yeah.
10? I don't know.
It's like
20-ish.
Gruyere cheese.
Gruyere.
eggs, Gruyere cheese. Yeah, I know.
It's my favorite.
It's Carlsbad,
I love
man.
Yeah.
it.
Everybody's
Oh my
like-
God, Greg makes the most
So
amazing
good.
mac and cheese with
See
Gruyere.
again, mac and cheese. Yeah. We want you to feed us next time. Yeah. When we
You won't
come
turn
over.
it down. I don't do the cooking. It's him. Honey, no eyeballs. We're not going to do eyeballs.
Tater
That's
tots.
it. Tater tots.
We'll
yeah.
pretend.
No.
Totally.
No, they weren't.
That's how I feel like.
You can't make me believe that.
But yeah, that's it. Everything in Carlsbad is bougie. It's like $10 tacos. They're like, here's a taco. It's da 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 da. I'm like, okay.
Better
You know
be the
what I mean?
best damn taco.
Can it be
I think
bigger?
we've sussed out some good food there.
No, they do. Like all in North
Yeah,
County,
it's
San Diego
bougie. It's good.
has
That's
a
what he's saying.
has a good food scene, and it's getting better even. So
Like
you know.
Flying Pig. Well, that's a little outside
That's
of
ocean-
Carlsbad.
that's
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
Oceanside.
I know, yeah, but
But it's only right down the street.
I know.
I know,
Exactly.
but
We could all go.
I said, it's close.
we're like the
It's close.
rough neighborhood compared to Carlsbad.
The rough.
That's
I like it
honestly.
though. Driving up here, not to this undisclosed location, boy, it's really nice. Some rolling hills,
Beautiful.
dude. Outside of the bathroom window, you've got beautiful wildflowers and like on your
It was like a
property.
bird sanctuary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
No, this whole area of this where Vista Gopher Canyon, Fallbrook area, it's still mostly agricultural, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
gorgeous here.
hopefully they don't just build 1 million houses. So
I've noticed that down the way.
yeah, that one's funny because like that
There's
one
some big houses going in.
they have a moratorium on lot splitting here, and that
Okay.
one started going in, and I was like, all right, they're gonna put a small winery there, so that won't be bad, right?
Yeah.
You might
So-
be spending some time there.
You can take some meetings over there. we
close
already have
by,
a
all
winery
good.
down the street that we belong to in Montserrat, and beautiful facility and some good wine. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, hey, meet me at Montserrat. People are like, what's that? I'm like,
It's a font.
don't worry about it.
That's what I know Montserrat is.
Yeah, it is.
It
That's
is.
good. Graphic
like,
design.
look at that.
You know it.
I know. I do use it, actually.
I think we all do. Okay, what's next for you? What's happening next? We got you here at home.
Yeah, we're doing a, we finished up the Mint 400 that, went really well. I was really glad to, get that race done because of all the impending kind of, economic things that are going on
In the world today, yes.
Yeah, it's just being
It's got a lot of, you've got a lot of plates in the air with that too.
Yeah, I mean, being an event promoter, it's a very wild thing in the sense that like people look at it and they're like, oh, it's predictable and blah blah. I'm
Sure.
like, listen,
No.
you literally
Not at
throw
all.
money into the air, and you hope it all comes back plus
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you do it again. And I've read a lot of funny books on different businesses, but one of them that relates to what we do and really events in general. It's a hilarious book, but also has some very wise anecdotal knowledge, right? It was a book that P.T. Barnum wrote called The Art of Money Getting.
I love it.
And he outlines all this stuff that's very true today. It was like everything that they did back then, to get people to come out to the circus. Because think
Yeah.
about it, like they had to do the circus just outside of town.
Yeah.
In usually areas that nobody went normally. So he had all these things that he would do, like, just weird, not weird, but smart psychological things where he would send the tattooed man in to basically pick on people at the local bar. And what would happen is you'd get divisiveness within the bar. A certain amount of people would be curious, a certain amount of people wouldn't like him, but then they would all go buy tickets to see him. Right. And so there was, the parade, like actually, if you go back to that era, they would always do parades through town and then be like, hey, on Saturday, come buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And you can see us all do an act. And we do a parade, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of funny little anecdotal pieces of knowledge. But yeah, Mint went really well this year. We were super stoked. We had a lot of 460 teams race with us, some new sponsors. We had Ram out there with us doing
The
a
drive and drive. Yeah.
a ride program.
Yeah, that was really cool to see that. And
Yeah.
so many spectators being part of that.
Yeah, it's really cool and
Definitely.
important, I think, because it's a visceral experience and it also ties back to a product that you can purchase. They're premiering their RHO truck out there, which is a really good truck. I've driven it, beaten on it.
Yeah.
I was actually really impressed by it because, of course, everybody's like, oh, the TRX, which is even more bitchin'.
Yeah.
More suspension, more horsepower. But they did take the knowledge they learned from building the TRX and distill it down into the RHO, which is a little bit more affordable, regular person platform. So that was good. And then, we come back from the Mint. We have a ton of cleanup to do, already working on stuff for next year in the California 300. And we usually, right now we're doing a lot like stuff like this, like a lot of content work, content work for clients, for sponsors, lots of off-road stuff. We've been doing a lot of food and drink stuff here locally because, North County's got a really good, food scene. We have a lot of wineries here in Temecula and, and so forth. So.
And I think we all gravitate towards things we like food and drink or off-roading or racing or whatever they are, right?
All that stuff goes
So,
together
yes, that's
with
kind of
tater
what it-
tots. Just saying.
Exactly.
Just saying.
All kind of
That's cool.
happens.
This is kind of like a somewhat of our off season, if we have an off season.
Sure.
But we still do a ton of stuff. So
That's awesome.
yeah, no, it's been good.
Love it.
I'm looking
This is
forward to
fun.
doing more.
Yeah.
I know. I'm
We're
like,
looking forward to you doing more.
Right?
I love it.
Likewise.
definitely.
Well, thank you guys for coming
This is
down here
great.
this time.
Oh yeah, no, this is great. I
Thank
know.
you for
I'm
having
like, we
us.
could talk for hours and hours and hours, but yeah, I feel like It was already a couple hours.
Yeah, was.
Feels like
Well,
a
here's
good
to
wrap
you.
up, huh?
Here's to you,
Cheers.
friends. Here's to
Amazing
you.
space.
Happy
Thank
Cinco
you.
de Mayo.
Thank you for
Yes.
having us out. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you to our followers. We love you.
Woo!
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone, for watching High Octane Hustle podcast with Off-Road Racer. We have Matt Martelli. We had Fastlane Jane right here. What a great episode. Cinco de Mayo. Cheers, everyone. Our third annual one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Cheers,
kind of
guys.
feel like we got to
So
keep
good.
stepping it up. Like, I think next year it's like full animal barbecue,
Goat or
We're
camel?
roasting a pig.
Dancers.
Oh, camel? No,
Goat
I
or
don't know about the camel.
Oh, okay.
Pig maybe. Dancers?
dancers. Why not?
Wow.
Let's
Oh,
step
yeah,
it up.
if we do roast
Wow.
a pig, that would be cool.
Some mariachis.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
if we're gonna,
Next year.
if it's
Tune in.
we're gonna celebrate a fake Mexican holiday, let's go all in. Right?
Now we know where we're going to do it.
Make sure you like and subscribe and watch Off-Road Racer podcast and High Octane Hustle podcast because we just did 2 different podcasts in one.
Yeah,
Man, it was long.
That involved alcohol. And Kate.
And cake.
There's cake.
Oh. You guys like this part.
I don't know.
It's not gonna fall.
I'm sorry.
I feel like it's not gonna fall.
I
And you guys
would-
are like freaking
She's gonna
out.
keep
for
doing
it.
it. She's
I
gonna
am.
keep doing it.
I'm one of those people. It's not gonna
Keep it
fall.
over
It's not even
there.
moving.
Oh
It's
my
not
God.
even moving. It's vertical.
Oh my
It's not even moving.
I don't even know if I want to eat
It's
that.
not even moving. You want me to lick it?
There's so much sugar in it, it's not moving.
I know. I know. So much sugar. Oh, I like that. I know. I'm telling you, it's like cement. It's like stucco on
You just
there.
licked cement.
I did. Look it didn't even go through.